stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order at 7:06 p.m. And we'll start off with public comment. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Hearing no public comment, we'll close public comment. We'll move on to item number 4, approve minutes from the May 19, 2015 regular meeting. Can I have a motion to do so? Motion by Anne Marie, second by Nicole. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The chair votes aye. Motion passes 6-0-1, and please note Len's abstention. Item number 5, approve minutes from the May 19, 2015 special town meeting. Can I have a motion to do so? Motion by Anne Marie, second by Nicole. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye. Motion passes 6-0-1, and please note Len's abstention. Next item, item number 6, for Selectmen's report. Last Friday evening, the town celebrated the dedication of the new flag and flagpole on the overlook at French Memorial Park. This 80-foot pole with its 20 by 30-foot flag will fly year-round to honor our veterans. I'd like to again personally thank Stanley and Phyllis Jackomowski for their very generous donation to our town. It is my understanding that the Parks Commission will be considering asking the Board of Selectmen to consider renaming the lookout after the Jackomowskis, which is something that I would very strongly support. Held our second joint DPW meeting with Oxford, Beacon Falls, and Derby regarding the sharing of equipment and services. We are continuing to look at ways to save money on a regional basis. We have determined that we will not be moving forward with the shared vacuum truck due to concerns with maintenance and wear and tear. Instead, we will be looking at bidding out the catch basin cleaning as one large job. Estimates project a savings of about 25% compared to what we currently pay. Met with several local leaders and the senior management staff at St. Mary's Hospital in Waterbury to review their financial condition and direction going forward. The hospital seems to be in a very strong financial position and will be looking to have a steady, very controlled expansion over the next 10 years. This is certainly a very good sign for the greater Waterbury region. Through the NVCOG staff, the region has applied for a federal Tiger grant to improve the TOD districts of several of the local towns. Requests include improvements to greenway areas and travel modes, and most specifically for Seymour, roughly $10 million for a completion of the Route 6742 connector. If this grant were to go through and the roads were built, this would open close to 240 developable acres between Seymour and Beacon Falls. I have asked all of our local state officials to write letters of support, which they have. While this is a very competitive grant process, we feel very strongly in its merits and the impact it will have on the area. Met last night with the Board of Education to discuss the initial steps in creating a joint grounds and maintenance department, similar to the new technology department that has been created. The board was very open and receptive to the idea. I'll be working on putting more specific plans in place over the next month or two that will bring together the strengths of the municipal side and the Board of Ed side to create a department that works for the best interests of Seymour overall. I'll provide updates as I move forward. Finally, tonight you were handed out a sample packet from the Seymour Sweeps program. This should give you the basic idea of where we currently stand. Work will be ongoing over the next few weeks as we continue to compile more information and data. From this, we will put together very specific plans of action in preparation of the 2017 fiscal year and beyond. Rory expects the resident interaction piece of the website to be live by July 1st. And that closes. Everyone has the... Hand it out there, right? Okay. Right, with that, I'll close my first Selectmen's report. We'll move on to item number 7. In your package, you have a letter, so I'll read and then I will turn the meeting over to Tom and Paul. So the Communications Commission has presented their final stage in a decade-long process to enhance and improve public safety communications in this town. Their final phase involves the use of simulcast communications, additional radio receiver sites, and the enhanced use of both dark fiber and microwave point-to-point connections to achieve these goals, thus enhancing our communication system toward an IP-based control accessible via smartphones and tablets for quick check or review of the operating system. As department heads, we support the conceptual presentation and embrace the practical applications it will deliver. And you can see this letter is signed by the Chief of Police, the Fire Chief, the Chief of Seymour Ambulance, our Director of Emergency Management, and our Technology Director. So all 5 have signed off on this project. Since I don't understand half what was said in that letter, I'm going to turn this now over to Tom and to Paul for a presentation on the new communication system, which will be a part of the capital plan for the next 5 years.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. For the record, Thomas Amy with the Oral Communications Commission. And with me tonight, as you know, is Paul Gushak, also member of the
Thank you.
Communications Commission. Tried to put just a brief little packet, so it's a little reading material for you later on this evening for you. What we've done, this town, we started back in 1998 with our first high-man license. We've moved forward. We've done several demos in different areas. We've increased our technology, and again, we've been like a beta system for quite a while. Now we've straightened out. We had one site for a repeater system that covered most of the town except for Route 31 Colorado. It was somewhat fine for a little while until we started getting busy. Surprised about that, the town, getting busy and activity level. We went to a second site to help us. We had a steer, what we call steering, which means the best signal received gets transmitted out. Well, that's great on a lesser used system as far as your business operating system. But when you put it in part of the emergency system together, it gets kind of confused once in a while. But money, again, at this town, they're not available at this time, so we work to try to enhance that technology as best we could until money would become available and we can go to our system. Simulcast system very simply brings up 2 to 3 to 4, how many you want, transmitting bases at the same time. We flood the entire town of Seymour with a signal. So no one's fighting, not one side is fighting with the other side. It comes up and talks to you, and then we have multiple receivers around town. So one point or the other will hear you and puts the signal back out. So we lose the idea of having dead spots or low coverage spots because multiple receivers. We lose the idea of one tower only sees a third of the town or 2/3 of the town. The other tower sees only 3/4. By putting both towers on or 3 towers on at the same time, you flood the town with signal. There's no fighting, so to speak. It's all heard. New technology, we're going fiber, we're going microwave point to point. Microwave is good for approximately 15 years before we have to do an update on that. Fiber is good indefinitely as far as year-wise. And fiber technology very seldom goes down, and the technology is parity. It's a lot faster than staying with Frontier. And those folks are using copper line technology is long gone by the wayside. So we've done it. And everything, again, the joy of it, I've seen several vendors already, and all of myself, to sit there, you have a system problem, and try to define a system problem, which you're calling your vendor in to do a service call for you, and you have no idea to try to help the other end. Bring it up, if it's a smartphone, if it's a tablet, you can bring the entire operating system up and see what faults are in. The same token, it's not notify that vendor to come in and do service when you have an emergency before they leave their shop or their home or whatever, what time of day it is, because they're bringing it up on their smartphone or their tablet to see, and they're dialing in already and have an idea of what's wrong with the system. So once we cut downtime if there's a problem, and everybody's going to understand the operation of how it's going on. With that said, in your packets, there's a cover, brief description of what simulcast is. There's a 2-page article. Further in it, it gets more into, you get some more information on simulcast. Then you'll see 2 pages that are green. The 2 pages, the first page you look at, is coverage as it sits today. And you'll see a lot of broken up green patches. That's where it's little to no coverage. And then when you look at the other page, you see it's almost entirely green with the exception of Route 2 report by the well field in someone's house. And that's questionable.
There's Len waving.
We're tweaking that right now. We've been working the last several days trying to refine that a little bit better. And then the last page, if you really want to get into it, it shows you where the equipment is and how it's all laid out on a flow chart. Everything is on schedule.
Okay. So let's start. Does anybody have any questions with Tom about, or Paul, about the system itself or what we're trying to accomplish with this? Does everybody feel comfortable? I mean, I know it's very technical, but
I understand what we're trying to do with this, and I can see how it will be better. But my concern, and I know you guys are addressing it now, is that Route 34 corridor, where we only have that one little spot by Green's house. But isn't that where there was an incident and the police, they could not communicate to one another? What are the chances of that? I know it will never be all green, but what are the chances of it?
That can be, Paul Lushak, PhD Seymour, that incident that was brought up, Emery, was during the time that our transmitter is up at the Oxford High School, which looks down the river without a service. The communication line between the power up at Progress in there is out of service because AT&T got rid of the service and turned it over to Frontier. After like about 10 days, we found out that a mouse was in a control box in Oxford and ate through the copper wire. And once that got fixed, that come up. Unfortunately, that incident was over and done with, so that solved that problem. But with the equipment that's out there for Frontier, we have no guarantee that that's not ever going to go again. And we're not very happy with the response as far as if we have a breakdown and the line goes down. So we're a customer. We're like earwax that going down to our roof. We'll get to it when we get to it. As opposed to AT&T, they keep calling up. They have somebody out there within an hour. That's the problem.
No, I'm all for it. I was just hoping that we can close that more so that all of our, all our EMS and our first responders are protected.
And what we did differently this time was the technical word propagation study on the radio frequency. Everything is done, it's portable, off of portable, that's a 3-foot line between the RK. So everything is done in reception based on that. If you're holding the portable higher, if you're in mobile radio, then tremendously good. So we did the study that way this time. So everything's done is a 3-foot line.
I do have a question. Actually, thank you, Paul, for bringing that up. I was going to ask about Frontier's growing notoriety in the state, and as far as, our service level with them is concerned, it's disappointing to hear that they don't take emergency services very seriously, or at least as seriously as AT&T did. Will this new change address some of that problem if Frontier just decides to say, well, we don't really care about the residents of Seymour's safety? That's how it, okay.
And part of fiber is we met with our technology department. Now, we may include fiber in the town fiber lane for create. So town owned fiber.
Okay.
Totally different. And again, totally different. We manage it. We'll have the people in the fall. And again, police department's a great one to do it because they have E911 at the state, all fiber connected.
Mhm.
They have the service technician set up to do work when necessary. So it's a different aspect of Frontier. Not to say still worried about it, but Frontier wants to get out of that technology. The copper lines and doing the phone circuit, that's going by the wayside now. It's not. So
yeah, then too, that's one of the reasons why I wanted Rob to be involved and sign off on this as well. So as we're putting these things in place, everything's gonna fit together, so we don't have piecemeal, and then 5 years from now, we have to start all over again. So all the pieces of the puzzle. Tom, if you could just talk about the costs overall, the project, how we're gonna bid it out, or what would need to be done, just along those lines, so the board's comfortable?
the cost right now, we're in the area of $435,000. Everything, like I said, all our equipment we're utilizing is all in paper. So that's our comfort level to deal with that. But that we're taking all our sites, we're upgrading the equipment necessary, adding new sites to the process.
We know what state bid list means, but there are people that sit at home and watch this on TV and they may not know what the state bid list means, but so could you just,
State of Connecticut goes out there for itself and for all the municipalities in the state, and they approach vendors. It could be Frontier, it could be Motorola, it could be Kenwood, it could be vehicles, Ford vehicles for police cars. And they said, what can you do for us on best pricing? So multiple is that. And usually a state bid list will be anywhere from 10% to 23%, 25% reduction in cost over the county. So with that said, that affords municipalities to save money already without going out to bid and going through a bid process, which is automatically going to drive items up.
Okay. What other questions do we have for Tom or for Paul? Everybody's comfortable? Good.
What's the estimated timeline, completion, and start to finish for this project?
Once we get everything in place, if we start the purchase order process, and I'll say it'll be end of July, we're hoping by September we have to know. The last set of equipment we ordered, similar to this, was 6 weeks in, the equipment we shipped in, and then it was 1 week after we in on shelf to install.
Anybody else? No? Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Tom. All right, so that's a little bit about the program, and we'll pick it back up again when we get to the capital plan, when we talk about how we're going to pay for it, so. All right, with that, we will move on to item number 8, discussion, take possible action regarding proclamation honoring Father Edward Jacksina. I'll read the proclamation. It says, whereas the town of Seymour wishes to recognize Father Edward Jacksina of Seymour's Church of the Good Shepherd on this, his 60th anniversary of his ordination as a Catholic to the Catholic priesthood, and whereas he has served in various capacities at the Church of the Good Shepherd, including as the parish's pastor since 1995, and whereas in these capacities Father Jacksina has become a great source of guidance and wisdom to his parishioners and a pillar of the community both spiritually and socially, and whereas the town of Seymour wishes therefore to thank him for his many years of valued service and to wish him many more years of dedicated to the people of his parish and the community. Now be it therefore that I, W. Kurt Miller, First Selectman of Seymour, Connecticut, do hereby proclaim Saturday, June 6, 2015, to be a day of thanks and recognition for Father Edward Jacksina. So can I have a motion to accept the proclamation as presented? Motion by Anne Marie, second by Nicole. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Next item on the agenda, item number 9, discussion, take possible action regarding 2015 Town Homeowners Program. In your package, you have a letter to myself from Priscilla Altarelli, who is our Assistant Assessor. It says, this is to inform you that we have 265 applicants eligible for the Town Homeowners Program. The town has approved a line item of $50,000 for this program. The recommendation of this office is that the applicants be granted the benefit of $185 for those who have 100% ownership or of life use of the property. Those having ownership of less than 100% will have the benefit prorated by their percent of ownership. Please advise this office of the decision of the Board of Selectmen regarding the granting of the benefit. And this is thank you. So with that, then, I will entertain a motion to accept Priscilla's recommendation for the Town Homeowners Program in an amount of $185 for those who have 100% ownership or have life use of the property, and a prorated amount for those with less than 100% ownership.
So moved.
Motion by Karen, second by Len. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Next item on the agenda is item number 10, discussion, take possible action regarding the formation of the Permanent Building Committee. If you recall, in the 10-year strategic plan, in the efficient, effective local government section, one of the things that the Strategic Planning Commission has asked for is the establishment of a permanent town building committee before the 2015-16 budget year to inventory conditions and plan maintenance, repairs, expansion, as well as associated site improvements. So if you recall, we had that discussion with them. We all seem to be on board. Roy and I have spent a substantial amount of time recruiting people to be on this board, those that have expertise in the building area. So this is not gonna be your just standard person who's on. This is someone who can look at a leak in a roof and know where that leak is coming from. We're going to be appointing those people later on in the meeting. If you want to skip ahead in your package, you can see that we have a mix of engineers and contractors. We have our fire marshal and so on. So I think this is a very worthwhile board to have. This board will work initially as and Rich, correct me if I'm wrong, as an advisement board to the Board of Selectmen, which if we feel it's going well at that point, we can make their status more permanent by either a charter change or an ordinance, depending on what the pleasure of this board or future boards might be. So with that, I'll open it up to questions and comments. If there are none, Rich, what specific actions would we need to take at this point?
I would think a motion to authorize the creation of a permanent building committee.
Okay. So there's no questions?
Serve as an advisory board to the Board of Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen. Okay. Do we need to have a member of the Board of Selectmen seated on the board? No, okay. Okay.
So these, obviously, they're responsible to us. We're going to require a certain amount of reports from them and updates as to what their
Yes,
actions are.
yes.
At least quarterly, like other boards and commissions, I would have to guess.
Yes, one of the things we're gonna ask them to do is actually build a plan that we have going forward, so when we're doing the 2017 fiscal year planning, we'll know exactly how much we should be putting away and specifically for what purposes. So they'll build a budget for that. I think this will go hand in hand with the joint grounds and maintenance department that we're looking to put in place. So I think eventually that board will have some oversight over that department as well. Anything else? Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, at this point, I'll entertain a motion to establish a permanent town building committee, and that committee will report at least quarterly into the Board of Selectmen.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Paul, second by Al. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Next item on the agenda is item number 11. Discussion, take possible action regarding Maiden Lane. At this point, I'm going to ask just to have this discussion tabled. Town engineer Jim Galligan was not able to be here tonight. He has some updates for us. Just as a note, before we table it, as Jim is going through the bid packages, they are coming in below what we had initially anticipated, so it looks like we'll have some money available for Maiden Lane. We're not 100% sure yet how much it will be and how in-depth we'll be able to go into solving the problem for these folks. But Jim's estimates that we'll at least be able to do some of the basic stuff that we had talked about to make the road passable. We should be able to have that done by the fall time. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion to table item number 11.
So moved.
A motion by Nicole, second by Anne Marie. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Item number 12, discussion, take possible action regarding the capital plan. Okay, before you is my recommendations for the 2015-2016 capital plan. Though I'm presenting it tonight for discussion, I'm not going to ask for any action tonight. I want everybody to be able to review it, and I'll ask for formal action at our meeting on the 16th. But I just wanted to show you where my thinking was. Also from what has been recommended, or asked for, I should say, by boards. When these boards or committees make these recommendations, it's vetted by Tony and I. We go back to them, we ask specific questions as to why they feel they need this equipment and so on and so forth. So this is where we currently stand. So I wanted to open it up for questions and comments, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I see there's a line for dog park, but there's no dollar amount set in there. Is that just a wishful thinking here?
Well, we had talked about putting in a dog park, but we're going to look for a grant money for that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, all of the locations that we found for the dog park were on wetlands. So not that that has too much of an impact, but there is some, in case the dogs do what dogs do, and that getting into the water supply. But we are looking to have the dog park and the community gardens in the same spot. So we're working with our state delegation to try to see if we can secure some money to assist in that process.
That community garden was with that little girl with Riley from Dr. LaPresti sent, correct?
Correct, correct. We're actually trying to expand it a little bit and add a greenhouse if it's possible. So it could be used year-round, and there could be more of an educational component as well for the elementary schools and so on. But greenhouses are not cheap, and they're not cheap to maintain either, so. Again, and just to remind everyone to make sure they're aware, this is the last year that we'll be putting the $100,000 into our revolving capital fund, so the plan will be fully funded at this point. So $300,000 will be our target each year going forward. So if you look to, on page 2, the yellow line, as you can see, we try to keep the requests even out for the 4 outlying years to right around that $300,000. Some years we're a little above, some years we're a little bit below, but this also gives Dee something to work with when she's out applying for grants and things like that.
I have a question. How about under the Board of Ed, the high school, 15-16,
Mm-hmm.
maintenance, resurface track, code compliance, bleachers?
Yeah, that is, the Board of Education will give me their updated budget. This is not a part of our money. They will tell me what their plan is for the 15-16 year. And then I will update that in. But as of last year, that is what they had in there. So I would expect both of those issues will be addressed with the current project. Hopefully,
Yes, they will be.
hopefully, so.
Yes, they will be.
Are you really raising your hand?
Yeah.
All right, Al's raising his hand.
Just under-
Make note of that. Al raised his hand, please.
Because I guess usually I just jump in whenever I want.
Pretty much, yeah. Generally just run me over, but go ahead.
With love.
That's right. with-
So under parks, I just wanted to ask you, I see a lot of good things being done at French Park. We got a zero-turn mower. We got some drainage and infield repair at the middle school, which is desperately needed in a couple of years.
Mhm.
I'd ask that if we had to make a choice in that third line item, French Park road work or Gary Park parking lot,
Mhm.
I haven't seen the French Park Road lately. I'm not quite sure what that's referring to. It probably isn't in great shape, but the Gary Park parking lot is an absolute train wreck. It's a disaster. So I would ask that we do something for Gary Park. It looks like we're doing a lot for French and a couple other good things there. We just don't give Gary short shrift. That parking lot is a mess.
Well, that's why it's actually been added. The initial
Oh,
money
'cause
was.
it says or. That's why.
Yeah, well, the initial money was put in there, part of the plan for French.
Okay.
And then in recent discussions with the Parks Commission and its chairman, Bill Peck, he's brought up Gary Park parking lot.
It's just.
Yeah, so I put the or Gary Park parking lot in there, because it's something that we're considering. We haven't made a full decision yet.
Okay.
Um,
So I brought that to Bill's attention. I'm sure other
Yeah,
parents have.
yeah. I mean, and if, if it's the decision of this board on the 16th that we go with Gary Park, then that's what we go with. Again, the Board of Finance controls the funding mechanism. We decide the projects,
Okay.
this board. So,
I think you know where I'd vote.
yes.
I mean, I should probably go take a look at French though, too.
Yes. That would be nice. But, I mean,
I
the
know
road,
Gary's a mess.
the road at French Park, actually, it needs some work down on the bottom, once you pass the new flagpole. As you get down towards the tennis courts, it gets a little choppy down there. But
Okay.
with limited funds, I would think Gary is more in need than French Park.
A lot of activity up there.
Yeah. So, one thing of note, if you look under Public Works, with the bucket truck, initially, we had $160,000 in there to replace a full-size dump truck. If you recall, we had been keeping the FEMA money aside from the last couple storms to buy a new bucket truck, and what we found was we didn't have enough money to buy a proper bucket truck. So through Sean, who is not here, but, which is surprising all by itself. But, through Sean's hard work, what he determined was for about $65,000, which is the money we had in the FEMA account, we could have a dump truck completely refurbished.
Okay.
And instead, take $30,000 off what we had targeted and buy a brand-new bucket truck. So by putting this plan in place and having it several years out, he was able to look forward and make a determination, yes. So we're definitely in good shape there. We're gonna continue in the very bottom of, the oil tank removal fund. We're gonna continue putting money into that, because at some point, we're gonna need to start pulling these underground tanks out, and we need to have a reserve built up for that. And then, just above that, the communications, the simulcast system, we have $75,000 currently in there. Depending on the funding mechanism that we choose, we may need to increase that slightly, or it may be okay, we just may have to extend it out an extra year. So we're going through the different financing options that we currently have to determine what is going to be the best alternative. One of the choices would be you pay an initial delivery, one is you pay a year later, so we can actually take the 75,000 and hold it, and then start moving forward that way. So, I'm working with Doug and Dick Theobridge, who is our financial advisor, to determine what is the best course of action as to how we're going to fund this. Okay, any other questions? I know it's a lot to look at in a short period of time, but
I have one quick one. The Matthews grant, the AED devices for town building, you're purchasing more for in here?
no, this was,
Oh, that was this year.
that was this year. That was the current budget.
Okay, so how many do we have currently? We have two?
I
One on
believe,
each floor?
I believe there's one on each floor. There's one in here, there's one
Yeah, it's
there,
right there.
and then there is one, I believe it's in the town clerk's office, correct? Or is it in our
Next to yours,
office?
Right next to yours.
Yeah. Yeah, so. But yes, they're up. But what we'll do each year is, at the end of the year, we'll list out all of the grants as well, so people can get an idea of the grant money and things that came in, how we use LOSUP and so on. Anything else? No? Okay. So anyone has any thoughts or ideas, if you want to get those to me prior to the 16th? If not, we'll take formal action on the 16th. We can make a note of that. Okay, item number 13, set special town meeting for Tuesday, June 16, 2015, at 6:45 PM regarding appropriating $200,000 for design and construct of an artificial turf athletic field and grandstand.
$2 million.
2 million, what'd I say?
You got us a bargain.
200,000, okay, 2 million. 200,000, sorry, thank you, for design and construct of an artificial turf athletic field and grandstand at Seymour High School, AKA Project CSAP 2015-17, and related improvements and amenities to be funded in part by an estimated $1,895,000 in grants from the state of Connecticut DEEP. Now, the reason we're doing this again is we sent all the information over to the Waterbury Republican, including the PO, got confirmation, the Waterbury Republican did not print it. So, we need to resubmit all of that and have the meeting on the 16th. This is a formality, it's not gonna slow the process down, it doesn't stop anything, but bond counsel wants us to just take this appropriate action. So, with that, I'll entertain a motion to set the special town meeting for Tuesday, June 16, 2015, at 6:45 PM in the Norma Drummer Room.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Nicole, second by Paul. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Karen?
I think it's a shame that we are starting this work. There's no way it's going to be done in September. And I think it's a shame that we're disrupting graduation. And I want to know where the money is coming from to rent the bleachers for the softball field. I had a long discussion with Jim Freund about this, and he said to me, in his mind, when he thinks of graduation, he thinks of us walking up past the tennis courts and going up to the field. And it's a beautiful site, it really is. And I think for 2 weeks, I mean, I saw trucks up there yesterday. I was up there yesterday. And I think the graduation is just in 2 weeks. And I think it's a shame that everybody's saying, oh, it's going to be done in September. No, it's not. It's not going to be done in September. And the kids, and I'm going to say this, I'm not saying I agree with it, but the kids have an attachment to the tragedy that happened this past year with the death of Nina, and they want to graduate on that field. And I just think for 2 weeks, it's a shame.
Duly noted. Any other questions or comments? Was that a question or was that a comment?
No, it's a comment. I mean, I've been subbing at the high school, and I listen to the kids talking, and while I think, you know, they have to deal with a tragic loss, I think we ought to honor their wishes, because the field is not going to be done for the first football game, or the second, or the third football game in September.
I don't think it was ever planned to be done in September, to be honest. I think the target was October.
October 1st.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, we always said it would be ready sometime late September. And the first football game we never have the first football game, home game, until the middle or the end of September.
Right.
You don't have a football game the first or second week in September. It usually starts around the third week. So it was never going to be ready until, we always said, that sometime the end of September, October 1st. That was always our start date.
Okay,
Our
I'm
open date.
just repeating what
Right.
what the AD told me.
Okay.
But, I mean, too, there was a decision made by the Board of Education as a Board of Ed facility. So, I mean, that's the...
Okay, I'm just publicly going at bat for the kids.
No, that's okay. No, you're absolutely 100% okay. So, that's why I wasn't sure if it was a question or a comment, so that's why.
No, it's a
Yeah,
comment.
okay.
It's-
Okay, any other questions or comments? No. Okay. And again, I would like to reiterate that we are not encouraging the turf committee to spend $2 million. I would have strongly asked them not to go above $1,895,000. And I would like to reiterate that again. So, with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much.
Kurt, excuse me, does that include the track?
They are attempting to, well, I'll let Nicole and Paul speak to that.
Hopefully it's including the track. We're getting bids now. The track bids are going out this week, and we'll get numbers coming back within the next couple weeks. And we'll see what money we have to have the track.
And to what extent we can do
And
do
what
the
extent,
track.
if we
Yeah.
can't completely do it, we may just end up doing a refresher tap coat, a late night.
So-
Resurface, yeah.
Possibly by our next meeting, the
What?
16th, you would have information about,
If we're gonna, hopefully, yes.
okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, yeah, if, depending on what they come back with, depending on the extra need, it potentially would have to be Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, and Town Meeting. So, it could be, depending on the
And, you
amount.
know, I may add a little bit to this.
Yes.
The track itself is considered an adult to whatever else we're doing. As long as there's money, at the end, when the field is done, yeah, the track will get done. And we believe that there will be enough money. It's a matter of how much money we
Right,
need.
we have a list of alternates of what we can do with, because the field and the bleachers, that's our initial goal.
Right, right.
And then we'd like to do the track, and we need to figure out how much monies we have left to then see what we can do.
Well, I'm sure you both remember, you work at a high school, and the kids are all saying, oh, they're tearing the track up, who's gonna paint?
The basic track is gonna stay there because it's a very firm foundation. Nothing's gonna change with that part. It's just a matter of how we resurface it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Item number 14, discussion take possible action regarding potential damage reimbursement for Vincent Meliciano. All right, so we have a note in our packet. It says, "To the right of Board of Selectmen, I, Vincent Mellicino, if I'm saying that right, wish to be reimbursed for damages done to," I assume that's a typo, "my car. I wish, or to my tire, excuse me. I wish to be added to the next agenda of the Board of Selectmen meeting," and then he's signed. So he has put in a claim for damage to his vehicle for hitting a pothole on West Church Street. And this happened on March 15th. So you can see we have the information included. We have the call sheet from the Seymour Police Department. And then we have two sales receipts for Tire Shack, one for a spin balance of the 4 tires, and then one for a new tire. So you can see we have $212.70 and $56.37.
I don't think we received that.
We didn't receive that.
Didn't get that.
Oh, you didn't give them that? Oh, okay. I apologize for that. I thought you all had that. So what you would have seen if you had the packet like I did, was a note, first the denial letter from Trident, and then the police department report, and then 2 receipts from Tire Shack. So what this resident is asking is that we place this on our agenda for discussion. So if the board is comfortable with doing so, we can place this on our agenda for the 16th. We can make sure that we have all the proper information present, and we can make a decision at that point. Is everyone okay with that?
Yep.
Rich, you have any issue with that? No,
What
Royce,
what is our normal procedure for something like this? Do we have a process for, or do people just go to court?
Yeah, what would happen is if someone has damage done, they submit the claim to our insurance company, which is Trident, and depending on the situation, Trident either accepts or denies the claim. If the claim is denied, then the resident can come before the board, or ask to come before the Board of Selectmen, and ask that the town pay the claim. They do need to provide the proper information. If you weren't at the last meeting, but Pete Kubik essentially gave us quite a packet of information, from the damage done to his car, to pictures of the blown-out tire, to pictures of the pothole, to a police report and everything else. And at that point, we made the decision that okay. So, I mean, I think one of the things maybe Rory can do is reach out to the resident and ask for some updated information. And, you know, it's a small claim, but it's still the principle of it. There's going to be potentially more of these claims. So. That answers the question, Lynn, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so then with that, Rory, if you can let him know that we need the rest of the information. So pictures, and the board will, this will come up before the board on our meeting on the 16th to take action. Is that okay, Rich? Okay. All right, with that, item number 15, executive session, which we have none tonight. Item number 16, which are appointments. Bonnie Wilkes, Municipal Aid, it's a reappointment, it's a 1-year term, it expires June 6th, that should be 2016. I have a motion to do so.
I'll move.
Motion by Paul, second by Len. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Jim Baldwin, Permanent Building Committee, it's a new appointment, it's a 2-year term, it expires June 2nd, 2017.
So moved.
Motion by Paul, second by Karen. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Paul Wedowitz, Permanent Building Committee, it's a new appointment, it's a 2-year term, it expires June 2nd, 2017. Motion by Paul,
Second.
second by Anne Marie. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Or excuse me, 6-0, and please note Nicole stepped out of the room at 7:48 p.m. John Conroy, Permanent Building Committee, it's a new appointment, 2-year term, expires June 2nd, 2017.
So moved.
Motion by Al, second by Paul. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 6-0. Wayne Natzel, Permanent Building Committee, it's a new appointment, it's a 2-year term, it expires 6/2/2017.
I'll move.
Motion by Paul,
Second.
second by Karen. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
Chair votes aye, motion passes 5-0-1, and please note Al's abstention. Alex Danka, Permanent Building Committee, it's a new appointment, it's a 2-year term, expires June 2nd, 2017.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Len, second by Al. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 6-0. Stanley Jackomowski, Permanent Building Committee, it's a new appointment, it's a 2-year term, it expires June 2nd, 2017.
I'll move.
Motion by Paul, second by Anne Marie. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Mike Marcinick, Permanent Building Committee, it's a new appointment. It's a 2-year term, expires June 2nd, 2017.
So moved.
Motion by Paul, second by Nicole. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Tim Connors, Inland Wetland Commission alternate. It's a new appointment, it's a 4-year term, it expires June 2nd, 2019.
So moved.
Motion by Nicole,
Second.
second by Al. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the chair votes aye, motion passes.
At one point, Mike Marcinek's name is spelled wrong.
Oh, is it?
Yep, he made it Marciniak.
Roy, could you make that correction? Thank you, sir. Thank you, Paul. Okay, item number 17, tax refunds and abatements. Nicole.
May 28th, 2015, to the Board of Selectmen from the tax collector, the following overpayments of tax payments in total of $2,963.94 need to be approved for refund in accordance with the provisions of Section 12-129 of the Connecticut General Statutes, dated the 20th of May, Dana Flock, tax office.
Thank you, Nicole. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to accept the tax collector's report as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Nicole, second by Anne Marie. Under discussion, everybody can just take a look. If there's no comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Item number 18 is transfers. We have no transfers. Correspondence, we have a few pieces. We have our check register. We have a letter from John Conroy Sr., resigning effective June 1st, 2015, from the Inland Wetlands Commission. He served on this commission for over 20 years, and he will be stepping back, so it looks like our alternate will be getting more action than he.
If I may comment, he's sorely gonna be missed. He really
Oh,
is
yeah.
a great asset to that.
Oh, he definitely is. A lot of knowledge. A lot of knowledge. The next two other pieces, I should say, are Jeopardy tax collection notices that I ask the tax collector to provide for me. So you can see that those are things that she will be turning over to the state marshal or working with Rich's office on having collection. So everyone can see those. Okay, that closes correspondence. We need to add back a second public comment, since we don't have any public. We can not worry about that, but just for the 16th, put the second one back in. That item number 20, Selectmen's public comments. Karen.
I just have a couple of things. I attended the dedication of the flag, the new flagpole, and at French Memorial Park, and I just want to compliment the Jackomowskis for their patriotism and their generosity to the town, because I'm sure that was quite expensive. We made several appointments tonight, and I've received several phone calls regarding openings on different commissions. The Commission on Aging hasn't had a meeting for 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and there are 2 openings.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's something we can work on. In addition to that, the Livable Community Committee has 4 openings.
If you have any recommendations for people, I mean, we're beating the bushes.
No, I understand.
People just don't, everybody wants the fun ones. Nobody seems to
Which
want
ones
the.
are those?
Well, I'm not
this?
sure which ones
that
those are.
this?
Please
I
tell
said,
us.
yeah.
Please tell me.
But, Rory put something else on Facebook today to try, with a listing of all the openings.
Kurt, the people who would be interested in serving on these committees don't go on Facebook.
You'd be surprised at the following of senior citizens that we
Really?
have
On
Fa-
Facebook?
Yes, oh, yeah,
Jeez, I'm never on
yeah,
Facebook.
so.
Well,
But no, I mean,
I've been working.
we're looking for other, I mean, we're using other sources, but it's just difficult, and what we're finding is we're regurgitating the same people over and over again, and they're getting tired.
Yeah.
And they're getting burnt out, and then something happens on a board, and they say, you know something, I don't need this aggravation, and they step down. We don't have too many John Conroys that will sit on a board for, 20-plus years, but that was John was very passionate about that. So it's tough to find people like that these days.
And let me just compliment my husband, 25 years on the
Yeah,
Board of
he's another
Education.
one, yeah. So they're either dedicated or crazy, I'm not sure which it is, but.
All right, the other phone call I got was about the new director, and I can't remember her name, of the Senior Citizen Center.
Lucy McConnell is the director. Oh, Community Services.
I'm sorry,
Mary McNallis.
okay. The person who called me said that she was promised 4 months ago. We hire her 4 months?
No.
Well, the woman who called me was promised that there'd be a new webpage, and she had 2 complaints. The senior center has no new webpage, and the rec department has no new trips. And she said people are tired of having to go to Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a trip to Radio City Music Hall, but I guess that's been going on for a long time. Where they go in December.
I would say that the resident is working off old information. There has been a tremendous increase in programming. They are starting both the senior center and recreation are planning out even into next spring now. So I've asked them for 12-month calendars and 12-month planning schedules. So
I
they're
was gonna
pushing
ask
us.
if we could get that.
Yeah, they're working on it. That came to light to me when I sat down with the Boys and Girls Club, as we talked about opening their summer camp. So I was sitting in a meeting with our manager of recreation services and the executive director of Boys and Girls Club, and we were talking about summer camp. And I said, well, let's start talking about fall and next winter and the planning. Shay she flipped 2 sections over in her book and she put it out, and our manager of recreation services looked at me and said, well, it's not even the summer, so why would I start thinking about the fall and winter? So one of the charges that I gave to Mary was, we need to plan out. I mean, I understand what the budget's gonna look like for the next 3 years, and I can figure out where the mill rate's gonna go and where our debt service is. Why can't we not understand what programs we're gonna have in September? So, to a point of what that woman said is 100% correct. Mary has been pushing them. We're seeing greater utilization of the bus. They've been pushing a lot more trips and a lot more activities. So that is definitely going to be changing in probably the next 2 months. With regards to the website, I just signed off on the PO for the new My Recware, which is going to automate the senior center, well, the community services department in general, so people don't have to go and sign up in person. They can go and they can pay online. I saw the initial draft version of the first page, the front page of the website, so that should be here by July 1st is my expectation. I mean, the PO's been cut, everything is in the works. They took over the old Town of Seymour Facebook page and they reconverted it to community services. That has about 1,100 likes, and I invited 500 or 600 people over the last couple days to join it, so we'll see how that increases. So to answer her question, I mean, the points you made were very valid, but those are things that Mary has been working very, very hard on.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that area has been neglected for many years. My jaw's dropped a few times when Mary's told me things that, things that you would never have expected. So she's been spending a lot of time kind of cleaning up and organizing and getting things going. And most importantly, getting buy-in from the employees, which she now has. So.
By the way, the rec department has a trip to Shea Stadium, too.
Yes, they do. And I mean, and I'm not knocking Missy in any way, because I turned Missy loose, and Missy's put in a lot of events, a lot of programs. She's actually going after Jack stuff, because Jack is still doing some different trips and things, and Lucy's going head-to-head with Jack, so it's actually entertaining.
Well, if she's interested, I have a copy, a 2-page copy of Oxford's.
Oh, we have all of Oxford stuff.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, one of the things we hear about Oxford is, and I asked Mary to look into this, is Oxford has a lot of programs and events and things, but a lot of them get canceled because they don't get enough people to sign up. So while they put a lot out there, a lot of them are not actually taken advantage of, which, they said that to me like that's a knock, and I said, no, I'd rather we put these programs out, and residents said, no, we didn't want to do that. I'd rather give people the option and let them
I
decide.
understand that.
So,
I mean, I'm tired, these older folks are calling me.
if 6 months from now, this is still the case,
Listen to me, these
then,
older folks.
I was gonna say,
Thank you, Kurt.
I was gonna say. What, people in their 50s are calling you?
No.
If, 6 months from now, if these people have these same complaints, then that's shame on us,
Okay,
quite honestly.
okay.
So,
Personally,
Um,
I think with the activity that you're talking about, you'll probably get people for the commission, for the aging commission, so.
Well, and that's one of the other things I want to talk about, is once the Community Services Department is up and running, do we need a Recreation Commission and a Commission on the Aging when, instead of being siloed, everything is working together? So
Yeah.
should we now have a Community Services
Yeah.
Commission?
We should.
You know, I know we all want to eliminate commissions and boards and try to be more effective and streamlined, even though we just created a new one tonight.
Well,
But, you know, maybe that's something that we merge together, and,
Make it
and to
more
your point
efficient.
before about not having people, this might free up some people.
This is not a comment, this is a question. This same lady who called me said that she was told that we're paying somebody a salary of $20,000 a year to drive the senior bus, and now they're looking for volunteers to drive.
No. What happened is there's a bus driver who gets paid 22 hours. She gets paid, I think it's $14.75 an hour, so she makes about $17,000 a year.
Okay.
And one of the suggestions by the Livable Communities Commission was, instead of taking a bus out, can we use a car to drive people to appointments? So the police department is giving one of their cars that are coming off service is coming to Town Hall. The white Crown Victoria that's out front is going to the Community Service Department, so they can do that.
And we have people to drive those vehicles?
Well, anyone can drive the car, any town employee, but only a person with a CDL can drive the bus.
Okay.
So no, we're not actively looking for people, volunteers to drive.
Okay.
That's not correct.
Okay.
Now, if someone came and said, hey, we would drive the car and do that, because the conversation with the Commission on the Aging, or no, maybe it was the local communities, I forget which one. But like some of the churches, they have programs where a person would take parishioners and things like that. So, well, we can do a thing like that if, we had a car and then anybody can drive. So that was something
it's
that
also
they
more
were
fuel efficient,
looking into.
too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm happy to hear that, because when
So-
she calls me tomorrow.
Yeah, no, you can let her know that. I mean, if she's volunteering, she can certainly
Oh,
drive
no,
the car.
she's not volunteering, no,
Yeah.
no.
But to Al's point, one of the issues we had, and this shows you how messed up our system was, June would take the bus, so she would drop you off at your appointment. She can't park the bus in front of the doctor's office. She has a phone, which she's not allowed to give the phone number out. So the person can't call when they're done with their appointment. So June has to kind of circle the block, and circle the block, and
That's
circle the block.
That doesn't make-
Yeah.
That's insane.
Right, so we've eliminated that by giving June a phone, which she can give the number out on. And then in a situation like that, where it's one person, she's gonna take the car. She can park right in front, not a problem.
All right, and the last thing, and I don't even know what control we have over this, but I used the ATM at Bank of America today. There's gonna be a sinkhole at the exit. There's a huge hole when you come out, the ATM across the street. The road is all damaged. And I think, we heard that gentleman talk at the last meeting about the sinkhole on his street.
That was Walt Bertzel. That was Evening Star.
Okay.
Yep.
I think we're headed for a sinkhole over here. I really do.
I'll have the boys take a look at it tomorrow.
Okay, that's it for me. Thank you. And I want to compliment you on shaving your head
Oh, thank
for
you.
the cause.
And thank you for being one of my sponsors.
You're welcome.
So, to raise money, Children's Cancer, I shaved my head, in case you hadn't noticed.
We just
Sorry,
thought maybe
Paul.
the phone it up.
I'm getting that look from the other end of the
Act
table.
like that.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
I'm just overtired at this point.
again, I also attended the ceremony for the new flag and flagpole. I was quite moved by the whole thing. Because as I mentioned to you, and mentioned to Jack Kamowski, that when I was first elected, we were just hoping to get lights on the flagpole that was there. And now we've got so much more, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, very generous they were.
But, and the second thing I'd like to mention is, quite frequently, I take a walk down at the fish bypass. And, the other day I was down there and I noted that there were a couple of cigarette butts on the ground, squished out. Which, people wanna smoke, that's fine. But I would like to see if we could designate that area as a no smoking zone, because we don't need people putting cigarette butts into that water where the fish are gonna be
Exactly.
coming up. I think it's it's just a careless thing, and probably a person does it all the time and didn't think about what he was doing. But I think we need to make it a non-smoking zone if we can. If there's some legality to it, Rich, maybe you can help us out with that one.
Because I agree, I think we probably all agree that that's a good idea. How we would enforce it, then that's another
Yeah.
issue all to itself, because the people that fish right off the point.
Yeah, I know.
We have other areas.
Schools, right?
Except
Schools and municipal
Schools.
buildings,
Municipal buildings,
yeah. Is there? That's how we do it. It's more of a suggestion than a rule, I guess, right?
yeah. I mean, at least, you know, we got signage up, at least
Yep.
we've tried, you know, and that's,
No, I agree, yeah. Okay, anything else?
no, that would be good, thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Nicole?
I, as well, I attended the Memorial Day Parade, and that was a nice parade, as it always is. We had the privilege of hearing from General Patton's grandson.
Mhm.
It was nice hearing some stories that he had for us. With that said, on my Memorial Day comment, I discussed with a couple people the possibility, because our parade has become very small, maybe merging with another neighboring town or towns. If it's something we could look into, to possibly have, you know, one great Memorial Day parade
Good.
with another town.
A Derby Shelton type.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Second, I also attended the Memorial Day ceremony at Veterans Grove, honoring our veterans. It was very nice. I was there with Anne Marie and her daughter, and I know Karen and Fred were there. Once again, it was a very moving ceremony. Attended the dedication of the new flagpole and the monument at French Park Lookout. I was saying to people, French Park is looking beautiful. Like, just, it's a beautiful park. I mean, over the years, it's just gotten, you know, we've done so much work on there, it's nicer and nicer. It was great what the Jacomowskis did, donating that flagpole. You know, we thank them. It's nice to see people in our community giving back, and no matter what the denomination is, it's wonderful to see. And what else? Oh, I actually, to Karen's point, I spoke to Ed Rostowski, and he apologizes that you must have misunderstood what he said about the field not being ready in September. He said, I'll apologize to her that she just misunderstood what I said. Thank you.
Al?
Just want to echo Nicole's comments about the Memorial Day Parade. It's always great, it's always fun, but I have noticed over the past couple of years, attendance has gotten lower and lower. So maybe we could combine with another Valley community, maybe Ansonia or Oxford or something, to combine and be more efficient
Mhm.
and collaborate with another community to make it maybe better well-attended and bigger. But always great and honored to be part of it. That was a fun day. Thanks.
Thank you, Al. Anne Marie?
There's a couple of things. And speaking about the Memorial Day parade that Seymour had, understand that Ansonia had their parade the same day and maybe an hour different than our parade.
2 o'clock.
So ours
Yep.
was, right, so there may have been some things that happened there. But I agree, that maybe even combining with Oxford would be a great idea. And then alternating like Seymour, like Shelton Derby does. And then I was speaking to a gentleman, because I was at the flag ceremony as well, and he was telling me about how over at the lookout, how that there was used to be a grove below, and where they're cutting the trees, and how they have fire pits down there,
Mhm.
and how after the Memorial Day parade, everybody would come back to French Park, and they would have a big community picnic. Everybody, you know, brought their own food, of course, but there was camaraderie, I can't say that word. And the kids all got together, and they played, and they had tug of wars, and it was just a big thing for the community to come together, and it's a shame that French Park is basically only used now for the pumpkin festival and baseball, and that maybe that's something that we can slowly start to bring back, is community events like that.
Mhm.
But I have to say that French Park is looking, it's looking so nice. It's beautiful in the Grove area. The outlook, I really couldn't get too close because I'm afraid of heights. I figured Chris might have paid somebody off to push me over. Never know.
Wasn't a big amount.
See? And, you know, thank the Jacomowskis for everything they've done for the town.
Yes.
It's a beautiful event.
Excellent. Thank you, Anne Marie. Mr. Green? No comments tonight? Okay. Mr. Baturl, any comments? Okay, with that, then I will entertain a
I'll make a
motion.
motion.
Second.
Motion made by Anne Marie on something, and seconded by Karen on we're not sure.
Wow.
My motion was to adjourn.
No, I'm not sure what we're voting on, but all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the chair votes aye, motion to do something passes it. 7-0, close the meeting at 8:12 PM. Thank you very much, everyone. So Emery and Nicole, I'll have the packets upstairs. We'll literally be 5 or 10 minutes
Karen and
from now.
Nicole. Okay.
What'd I
Karen and
say?
Nicole.
Anne Marie.
Sorry, Karen and Nicole. The packets are upstairs.